She died.
She died in 70. Your father died in 73. She died. Cindy was born in 70. She died in 1970. She died before Cindy was born. Cindy and Sandy.
After her.
Cindy and Sandy. Karen. Cheryl's
Second daughter. No.
first daughter.
First daughter is the one we.
Sandy. No, Sandy. Wait, no.
All right, Cheryl's
Yeah,
first.
Sandy.
Sandy's her first daughter, but Judy is Enid's second.
Wait, there's Sandy
And
I saying?
Karen
Sandy and Karen. So Sandy,
is named after whom?
Sandy and Cindy were both named after
Celia.
my grandmother. Yes, Celia.
Celia.
Right.
Okay, now.
They were both born in 1970. Sandy was born in July, and Cindy was born in October, and Nana. Celia died in April.
Okay, all right.
So
And they
she
were
knew
named.
that both of us were pregnant.
Okay, right.
Okay?
But she knew
And
that.
they were both named after her.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
She never got to see
No,
them.
no.
And so what happened was my
Wow,
great-grandma.
So she died in 70.
Yeah.
That meant she was 75.
Right.
Oh, I
she
thought
was
she
born
was
in
74.
1895, and she lied about her age. And
Wow.
Uncle Michael, the
born
second
in
child, was
78.
born in 1898, and
Yeah.
Aunt Dottie was born in 1902 on Delancey Street.
And what about your mother?
My mother was born in Harlem, which was all Jewish.
Right.
Who
In
lived
what
in
year?
Who lived in Delancey Street?
Must have been Aunt Dottie and her parents, which is Grandma Blessman and Grandpa Blessman, your great-grandparents.
Okay.
And then,
Is that
And
the
what-
grandpa
was
that was in
it
the
my
Jewish
grandmother
home?
and Celia and Rose, all of them together?
no, Rose came later. After
Okay.
Aunt Dottie came, there was
Now, your mother was born in what year?
1909. And
Oh,
in
9.
Yes.
Wow.
I thought it was
Lied about
1910.
her age and said it was 1910, but she was born in 1909.
That's why
Why
with all of us.
Wow.
Yeah, why? I don't know, because they were silly. I don't lie about my age.
I didn't
so-
know there was that big a difference between my grandmother and your mother.
Right, because my mother, when she was a child and Aunt Celia got married, she was used to having Aunt Celia around the house, and she missed her. She was very close to her, so she went to visit her. And Grandma used to laugh because she went to visit her on, she had just gotten married. And Grandma said to her, leave her alone. She just got married. My mother didn't understand, and she went to visit her. Yeah.
Wow.
Celia had Rita
Yeah.
and Enid.
Yeah, Rita
That gets
and
us
Enid.
to,
That's how we came to be.
that gets us to Arlene.
Yeah, she's Rita's daughter. Yeah.
So-
Anyway, so
So
all
go
right.
ahead, what you were saying.
I'll go back. So the great-grandma was
Blessed.
born in Ukraine, and I knew my great-grandma. I got the name of it was Sirota. Was my great-grandparents, but my great-grandma lived in Ukraine, and she had 12 children, 9 of whom survived, because in those days people died. They didn't have modern
Right, right.
medicine. I don't know what
So
the
when
dates
did they
were.
come here? They all
My
came.
great-grandparents didn't come here. Those are great-great-grandparents. They
Okay.
didn't come here.
Wait, I thought,
Their
okay.
daughter,
So out of the 9 children, did any of them come here?
yes, they came here.
All
And,
of them.
I don't know how many of them came here, but I know, wait a minute. Out of the 9, Grandma Blessman was the second oldest. They were Trunts. There was Sam Trunts, and then came Grandma Blessman. She's
What was her
Celia's
first
mother, Hannah Blessman.
Hannah.
That's
Hannah
my
was my Nana's
Mother,
mother. Hannah. Hannah Blessman.
right. And they came here, and then they came here, and she was the second of those who came
Of the
here.
9, yeah.
Of the 9, and the first was Sam Trunts.
Okay. So it was
No, this was Hannah Blessman. First
not
name-
Glassman.
Hannah Trunts,
Hannah Trunts.
right. And before her was Sam Trunts, and there was Hannah Trunts, and there were other Truntses. And
I remember it was called the Trans Cousins. It was called the Trans Cousins Club.
Cousins Club,
And
right.
your father's car, because nobody else drove.
Yeah,
In my
that
world,
is
my
right.
father was never a
We
driver.
drove.
Yeah.
We used to drive.
Not on my side. There were no
Yeah.
drivers in my family.
Okay.
I was the first driver.
yeah,
He used to pick up, my grandparents,
Yeah.
my mother and father, and me.
Yeah.
And it was in the city, I think.
Right.
We
It was
drove
in the
into the
city,
city
right,
to the
right.
Trans
Cousins
Cousins
Club,
Club.
right.
I can remember.
I
it.
remember
I
that
can
too.
remember
I
that.
remember that too. We
Yeah.
used to run around.
Yeah,
The kids,
exactly.
we were kids,
Exactly.
little kids.
Right.
We used to run around.
But it was
and
nice.
I knew Trance and Blastman, but
Yeah.
and then there was a Rose Trance.
right.
But I never knew what a
That's-
trance was. I
Me
still don't know what a
neither, me
trance is.
neither.
A trance
I'm
is,
saying, good.
yeah, right,
No, me
okay.
neither. Like who?
And there was the Rose, and there was the trance who was
And
much
then
younger.
and Rose became Dax.
Right, there was a Rose Stacks. Right, she was the daughter of Becky Trance.
Oh, okay,
Becky Trance was a younger Trance.
okay.
I don't know who was the youngest, but
But
Becky
Hannah was a Trance.
Hannah was the Trance and second in line, and Becky was a younger
like a
Trance.
Yeah, right.
And then there was a Sarah Trance, and she, my grandmother, who's Hannah Trance, was pregnant with Sarah at the same time as Grandma Blessman was Grandma's mother was pregnant with Sarah Trance at the same time that Hannah Trance was pregnant with Celia. So Celia was older than her aunt.
Okay.
She was older than Sarah Trance because she gave birth first. Yeah.
That's funny.
Her mother was pregnant the same time she was, but she got pregnant first. And she gave birth to Celia.
Right.
So Celia was older than her aunt. Yeah. And then,
So there was a big family.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
were all here.
yeah, they were here. And my mother's grandma, who Trance, it was before Trance, my grandma.
Well, it's our grandmother. Our
No, you're great. If it was
my
mine,
great. Yeah, your
Your
grandmother,
You
my
have a-
great.
You're a different generation.
right?
We're
yeah,
a different generation.
Right.
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 I'm
we
the
are.
same as Rita and Jerry.
Right.
And what happens? Where was I? I lost my.
You were
About-
trans.
You were
about How many
trancing.
people came here?
You're in a
Oh,
trance.
yeah,
You're in a
grandma,
trance.
My mother's grandma, who was Hannah's mother, was here, and she baked all the strudel for my mother's wedding. Over 100 people. My
Wow.
mother told me that. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And Celia was married to. There was an uncle.
Joe.
No, she
Oh.
married Joe, who was a trans. It was an arranged marriage.
Glassman.
Yeah, it was an arranged marriage between Celia Trance and
Joe Glassman.
Joe Glassman.
Yeah.
And Sadie. There was an Aunt Sadie, and it was Sadie's brother. Joe was Sadie's brother, I think. And that was the arranged marriage. So I don't know how much love there was there. And Celia and Joe had Rita and Enid, and later on we know about what happened, and she
How about
married
for
Rudy.
I don't know what happened. What happened?
What happened?
Joe died.
Joe
Well,
died.
he either died or he was helped to die.
Oh, go away.
What?
Yeah,
Go
he
away.
died.
Tell
He
the story.
died.
Tell the story
I'm not going to say it.
for posterity.
Yes, posterity.
Okay, this is a
Tell
cover. We're
story.
deciding whether to cover this up or to memorialize it.
No,
Well-
that's all right. She can tell.
Tell the
Yeah,
story.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
But
There
we
was,
don't know if it's 100%.
Wait,
but
no,
that's
wait.
okay.
That's pretty good.
There was.
Yeah, I know. I
Pretty-
know. Go ahead.
There
tell
was
the story.
a trans. I'll tell you, Becky Trance was one of the younger ones of the Trance family.
Right.
I'm telling you, Sam and then Hannah, and much later on, and came Becky Trance and Rose Trance. And Rose Trance was the youngest,
Okay.
and that was the 9th child. And she was still alive a number of years ago.
Rose Trance.
Wow.
Rose Trance.
Yeah.
What
I
how
don't
old
know
was she
when
when she passed away?
I don't know. But in any case, and she was living, I think, in Florida somewhere. And she told Cindy about Uncle Joe. I wasn't going to tell her. That Uncle Joe, they turned on the gas, and that was it. That's what I was told by Jerry.
Who turned on the gas?
That Jerry Kleinman told
My
me.
father.
Yeah,
Mr.
he was
Yenter.
Gassa. He was the enter of the
Right,
family.
Question
Yeah.
was, no, Jerry didn't turn on the gas.
No.
No.
Who turned on the gas?
Jerry told me,
Right.
and you have to say.
Who turned on the gas?
She's trying to
Here,
talk. Shut up.
up. Jerry told me, and you don't know, and we don't know whether it's true or not because Jerry told me, okay?
All right.
That Uncle Joe turned on the gas. And that's what this Rita, this Rose Trance, who was the youngest of the Trance
Right.
group, told Cindy. I was never going to tell her, and she was quite upset by this.
Yeah.
Of course.
So you're talking suicide, not that somebody turned on the gas.
Well, that's
to
a
do it.
nice term for suicide.
Right.
Turned on the
I'm
gas.
telling you that Uncle
Yeah,
Joe,
suicide.
Jerry told me Uncle Joe turned on the gas. And Rose
He was
Trump,
unhappy.
He was unhappy because Aunt Celia was seeing Rudy.
Okay.
They weren't just seeing, not just seeing.
Well, I don't know for sure.
Seeing-
I like that. You see, you're good.
I don't know for sure.
It's
Jerry
unconfirmed at
Jerry
this point.
said that.
Jerry said
They
said
just
that.
saw each other.
Jerry said
How
they
did
were
Jerry
dating.
know about the gas?
Jerry,
How did Jerry know they were seeing each other?
we knew about that, but they, according to my mother, didn't tell me anything in depth. She told me the nice things. I had to find out through others. And my mother told me that Celia knew Rudy because he used to come into the store
Right.
that Uncle Joe had.
Right.
That's all I knew
The candy
about
store,
Rudy.
right? They had a.
That's all I
whatever
It's a
know.
hell of a
store.
candy store.
That's right.
Anyway, that's all my mother would say. But I had to find out through others what else was going on. And
Good.
she would never tell me anything that wasn't the best about the family.
Okay.
So I found out through others.
Right.
Anyway, so Jerry said, however much of this is true,
Yeah,
is
because your father
conjecture.
used to like to kid around a lot too.
Yeah.
Let me translate this part.
Okay.
Like a
Right.
good reporter, see, my father was not a reliable source,
Right.
Okay.
right?
No.
But we now have confirmation from separate and reliable sources that had nothing to do with my father. Thank you.
Right. Right.
All right. So
Independent.
Jerry said Uncle Joe turned on the gas.
And Rose Trance confirmed it.
Rose Trant confirmed it to Cindy, and I would not have told Cindy, and I was sorry she did.
It looks like
But
Cindy didn't tell you either.
She didn't.
No, she didn't.
All I
It's
know
all
is
it's
you
interesting,
told
right?
me that
Right.
my grandmother had an affair with.
Well, what did
Rudy.
they think if they found him? They found him.
Wait.
That's because Jerry told me that. Now, whether it's
But
And
you
I
weren't-
said
you
to
weren't
myself,
shocked.
"Son of a gun."
Right.
That's my grandmother.
Right,
Well-
there you go.
You know.
well, I'm
I
telling
wasn't
you.
We're just
shocked.
people.
Yeah.
So you have to decide whether what Jerry was saying is true,
Okay, gotcha.
because
But
he
then
used
Rose,
to say
but she
this
confirmed
Rose
it.
Trance.
Right,
She said
confirmed
that.
it.
If you're writing a book of nonfiction, we still have to say we're not. Is this good enough for confirmed sources? Well, not really. It's pretty
I don't know.
close. It's
We
close.
don't know.
Yeah,
It's close.
Pretty close.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, in the
now, how
Bible,
did?
we're reading this morning that God said that you can't convict someone of murder on the testimony of just one witness.
Yeah.
Well, we have
Now
two.
you got two.
Okay.
We got two.
Okay.
Now the question.
And it's not murder.
The
That's
question.
not murder.
Whatever.
Well,
No, it's
No, it's
not.
not murder. That's
The
it.
question here is,
Yeah.
how did Rose Trance come by her information?
True, that's right.
Okay?
Yeah,
She
for
wasn't there in the room with
Okay.
Uncle Joe.
This is all
But
hear-
guess what?
This is hearsay.
You know how we're going to connect this?
How?
We're going to ask Cindy.
Cindy.
Oh, that's
Cindy's
right.
the last. Cindy
No,
spoke to her.
wait a minute.
Okay.
She didn't speak to email.
Okay.
From Florida to England, you don't make calls, you do
Okay.
email.
Okay.
So we could pick up the trail
No,
with Cindy.
wait a minute. But she emailed Cindy that this is what Joe did.
That's a
She
pretty good
didn't-
source.
She didn't say,
Right.
I know that it's true. And I don't think Cindy said to her, how do you know that this is true? I don't
Right.
think so.
Right.
Okay?
Does this Rose trans person have descendants, children and family and all that?
She must, but I don't know.
We don't know about them.
I don't know. I
Let me
know.
ask you a question. We're talking about all this. Do we really care?
No, not really.
Yeah,
no.
I do.
Well,
I want to know.
we
the
know enough. I
background.
agree with
We
Michael.
know you
you
have-
know enough.
we
You know enough.
We know
Right.
you have some, what's the terminology I want to use? You have some dark people in your family tree. Okay?
Well,
I
know that.
I
what?
have someone
That's
who I'm
not fair.
very proud of. There was I forget- Ralph.
Ralph
whom-
Trantz, yeah.
Ralph Trantz.
Yeah.
And he had
Was
the
he
name
one of the
Trantz.
9 trances?
No, he was. I think Aunt Sarah was his mother.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Don't get
I
confused
think
with Sarah.
so.
That's not my mother.
That's
This
not
is a.
his mother.
That's a different Sarah.
just-
It's
that's-
Sarah Trantz,
Sarah Trantz.
who
now.
was the youngest of the Trances.
Okay.
And I think Ralph Trantz
Was the son.
Was his
And
son.
What,
I
why are
Good
we
movie
proud
title.
of Ralph
Well,
Trantz?
I'm proud of Ralph Trantz because, according to Jerry, again, because I didn't.
My father's in the middle of all
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
all
know
the
it's
gossip.
true. I did not ask Ralph this out of tact. I don't think he would have wanted to talk about it. We went to visit them in Florida, and he was crazy about my mother, so I didn't get into anything with him because I didn't love her, and I didn't want to get into anything about my mother with Ralph Trantz.
So,
Anyway,
That's
so
okay.
what happened?
to be recorded.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what
we
happened?
Recorded. So.
What are you proud about?
Oh yeah, according to Jerry, he gave women abortions before Roe v. Wade.
Holy
Oh.
shit!
Yeah, Ralph
Wow.
Trantz. Yeah.
Wow.
According to Jerry,
He was a pharmacist.
he was a pharmacist for
Wow.
a while, and
For a
he
while?
did. Yeah, for a while.
Until he got arrested.
How do we
I-
get from pills to abortions?
Good question.
Well,
This
there was
was
a demand. He filmed it, that's all.
Yeah. Wait a
Controversial.
minute. This was before the pills were invented.
So you're
Yeah.
proud of our abortionist relative?
Yes, because a woman's right to choose
I
is
agree.
most
I agree
important.
with you. How do you like that?
Right. See, we agree. A woman has
Very
the right
strongly.
to choose. Right.
Yes.
I agree with that part, but you know,
But you don't
but
agree.
no, like somebody that's totally unqualified doing
Right. Yeah, that I
whole
don't
room
agree with. I
abortions.
wouldn't be so-
Yeah,
I don't
wouldn't
think
be
that's
so
anything to
proud.
be too proud
I
of.
don't think I'd be so
Before
proud
you
about
two,
that.
when
You know,
What
you were
I
talking about
don't-
hangers and.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. I don't know if he did it well or not. I
Right.
just know that Jerry said he did it. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever
he
it
should.
was, he did it for money. He
Right.
didn't do it to
Didn't-
be a saint.
I
And
agree.
he did it.
I don't.
He was unqualified to do
It's
it.
illegal.
And I don't think that's something to be proud of.
I would not call him
I
out as
don't know.
somebody.
No, I
I would
wouldn't.
not put him in higher
I
mileage.
wouldn't either.
I don't know.
He's an abortionist.
Yeah,
I
right,
don't
exactly.
know. First of all, I don't know if he did it for money
Now,
because
did he get thrown in jail?
I heard that he went to jail.
I'm sure he did.
Maybe he had a good
He
lawyer.
deserves to.
I don't think he deserved to if he was successful.
He was very
Is
successful.
he still around?
He must, I don't know. He might be dead by now.
What's his name?
Ralph Trantz.
Well, how old would this guy be?
History of Ralph Trantz.
Okay. He might be dead by now. And he told
Said
us.
Trumps. No.
You can't.
Quiet.
It won't.
Quiet.
Why?
Quiet. Quiet.
Type it
It
in.
will. No, it won't.
Can you imagine when we have more
History of
time?
Ralph
Ralph.
I mean, look at these discoveries we're making.
No,
Look
we
at
keep
this
saying
library
Trump.
of stuff you've got.
Yeah, I thought I
I thought I heard.
I thought I read
Quiet.
a pretty
Quiet.
active
Quiet.
life, but none of this stuff. I mean,
History of Ralph.
You didn't have any abortionists
Trantz.
in your family?
not that I'm aware of.
So what I'm saying about him,
Lipschitz. Get out of here.
Ralph Trantz.
I will.
Well, let me pick up while you're looking
Maybe
for that.
he's
I
not
want to say
there.
something positive about Celia and Rudy because we sort of put the negative connotation about the suicide, but that was a choice. And it's sad and it's tragic.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is that Celia and Rudy loved each other.
Yes,
they were
they
good.
both-
They were good grandparents.
Very.
They were
Yes.
good. They were
Yes.
good second parents. So there was a lot of love that picked up. I
Yes,
mean,
so that was
out of
good.
out of something. Out
was
of
a good
out of
second marriage.
exactly,
Yes, it was
exactly.
a good
And
second
unfortunately, in those days, it wasn't such an easy, clear path to hidden love to
Trantz family
to out of the
history.
closet love.
Yeah.
last name, origin, and meaning. Ancient faces. Trans family history, genealogy, and family tree. Find the origin and meaning of Trans. Ralph Trans. Let me see.
Look at the new world.
Well, it's
we
not
live
going to
in.
say that he performed backroom abortions.
You're talking, and we're.
Yes,
Technology
exactly.
takes us
It's
to
marvelous.
right to the. It's
Yes, it's
it's
marvelous.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Trans family records.
He's probably in jail. There's a record of that.
Oh, you
He might
to
have had a
see
good
the
lawyer.
account. This is the
Wouldn't it be
entrance
fun
street.
to know what happened to him? That would really
I
be
don't know.
Ralph
interesting.
I
Trans,
don't
it
know if
says
he's still-
Whitestone,
No,
New
but-
York.
No,
No,
we
they-
visited him. Oh, I think his daughter might live. She said he told me his daughter.
Even if you
was
find
a
this, you're going to have to pay
photographer.
for that information, which you're not
Ralph
going to do
Trans,
right now. You're not going to do that right now.
1921.
That sounds
Could
right.
be.
To 2005.
That
So
sounds
then
right.
he died then.
He was born 1921. He died 2005 at
He was
84 years
84.
old. We know he had been residing in Whitestone, Queens County, New York.
Probably with his daughter.
Maybe with his daughter. He had a daughter, but I don't know her name, and we never visited her.
They wanna
Keep
call
that
it
for Cindy to pick up on it too.
Yeah, no, you have.
We got to
this
pick
one.
up the trail on this one.
Did we have any family that fought in the First World War?
No, my father was too young to fight in the First World War, and too old to fight in the Second World War.
Yeah.
My
But what
father
about
was
cousins?
About the second and a half.
Yes, Jerry and Herb, who's her
Yeah,
uncle.
Herbie, yeah, right.
He was
were,
in World War II.
No,
Well-
Herbie wasn't in World War II.
No,
he was
World
in
War
the.
II.
He,
Korean War?
wasn't
No,
he?
he was in World War II.
Was it your
was in World
father
War
in the
II.
service?
No,
He
my
didn't
father.
fight. Herbie
Herbie
and
did
Jerry.
fight.
He did fight.
He was in the. He was in the. Yes, he was. He was in what the Philippines or whatever.
yeah?
What are those islands?
Yeah.
Because I remember he wouldn't eat American cheese because he hated it because they had it. He had it all the time in the service,
Oh.
and he would never eat American. Yes, he fought. He was in
He
one of
fought
those
in the
islands. Yes, he
Philippines.
did.
Oh,
My father was stationed in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City.
That's how
Really?
he.
Get out of
I
here.
Did he
thought
see
he
any
was-
combat?
That's only.
Jerry
That's
was
not a
in
joke.
Texas.
I don't think so. He was in Atlantic City, and I guess that's some. And
Who
I think
told
he's
you
a pen.
that?
No, I know it for a fact. I have pictures of him in Atlantic City, and something
was in
happened to
Texas.
him. He might have. I don't think so. I know that he was in Atlantic City, and something, whether it was his appendix, whatever it was, he never actually got into real. He never got into active duty.
And my
No,
father.
he wasn't in active duty, but he had to deal with a lot of anti-Semitism, and he wouldn't talk about it. He
I
just
never heard
got-
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, yeah. That's what he told me. That there was anti-Semitism.
In Atlantic City?
I thought it was Texas, but
I would say Texas more likely, but
I don't think
But-
my father ever set
anyway,
a foot in Texas.
he said he dealt with it.
I'll be checking this one out. With my
Okay,
mother.
I have, so my
Anti-Semitism.
father didn't fight in the war either. He worked in the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
For World War II.
Yeah,
Oh.
because he was married already.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't take him,
Oh,
but they did make him go when he
so
worked
then
in the
they
Brooklyn
thought
Navy Yard.
It's lucky that he
Yeah.
didn't get taken.
Yeah.
but Karen, did your parents have to do something to help the war effort?
My mother used to knit for the Red Cross. They give you wool and needles, and I remember
My
as a
mother
very
knit,
little
too.
girl seeing her
And my
knit.
grandmother did too.
Yeah, they knit. They
No,
got
no, and your grandmother crocheted.
crochet.
Oh my God, I remember
Always
all her
knitting.
crocheting.
Always
something.
knitting.
She crocheted
know-
for me a bedspread
Madame
for my
Lafarge, is that
wedding.
what is it? What's the
Do you
character
know-
from
do you
Tale of
know-
Two Cities?
I still-
Madame
Defarge.
Defarge?
Defarge.
Chuck,
Yeah,
I still have a sweater.
yeah. That she,
And I may have given it to Cindy or somebody
Yeah.
because it was very small, and she made it for me
made
when
it,
I was
yeah.
young.
Yes.
Okay.
and Aunt Dottie
Yeah.
crocheted a bedspread for me. That's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And I still have. She used
it.
to have those doilies on the
Yeah,
on the
right.
dressers. Remember?
You had a very special
I
relationship
did,
with my
yeah.
grandmother.
I did very good because I could talk to her and I couldn't talk to my mother.
Yeah,
I could talk
yeah.
It's so
Aunt Dottie
interesting.
was, you know what? Aunt Dottie was born in '02. My mother was born in '09, and Aunt Dottie was a modern woman. She told me that.
Well, she went to business. She was,
Yeah.
she was very
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. That's-
My grandmother was too. She
Yeah.
also
How
did.
many boyfriends did she have?
And Dottie, I don't know. I guess she had a lot.
All right,
because-
that's the first time I've heard that.
yeah, because
Did we have any family that got in trouble during Prohibition?
You see,
No, but-
these are my grandparents. Like, this is how generational.
I know,
I can't
I
imagine.
think so.
Everyone
She-
tells me my grandfather was used to play around.
Right.
All I know is that my grandfather
yeah, he did.
drove
Right.
Marvin's bike from Van Cortlandt, 98 Van Cortlandt Park, all the way to Andrews Avenue.
Yeah,
He
his
drove
bike
it to bring it to me. My grandfather did
that's
everything
really-
for me. Like
yeah.
Davy Crockett had, and it took me everywhere.
Yeah, it's very
and yet,
nice.
he worked at the C&L, which was
Right.
right in the 70s. Right
Yeah.
here. He used to come every Saturday night and join
Yeah.
your mother, Celia, Rudy, your
Yeah.
father, and I was there.
Yeah.
I was a kid with my grandparents all the time.
I do remember-
I watched Perry Mason. They played cards, and he'd bring the greatest cheesecake.
Participation.
They played gin.
my
It's
God, I
really.
haven't heard that in years. That's a card game?
Yeah, participation.
I remember that. I remember
don't
that.
remember
But
how
I
to play
thought
it.
they played poker or something.
They did poker and they played participation, but I
And why
don't
didn't my
remember how to
mother
do
ever
that.
play cards? She only played mahjong.
Oh,
But everybody would say the word was my grandfather in his younger days
yeah, he was
a-
very
a-
good, and we used
But
to go
he was
to.
such a great guy. I mean, he
And
was a
we
great,
went to-
amazing grandfather. You know, which is what happens. You know.
So we went to Spring Valley when I was a little girl.
Yes.
I think from
Me too.
From yeah, you were in Spring Valley too?
Yes. I
When I
had
was-
pictures when I was 2.
Oh, 2. Okay, so I was 8 years. I'm 8 years older than you. 10 years older than you. So I was. I think
It's a
from
great way of
5
never
to
not
7.
telling anybody their
Okay.
age.
Right.
I'm old. I'm 5 years older than you, 2 years younger than this. But it's good.
I was 80 this
And
year.
No,
always-
it's okay. It's
It's
okay.
all right.
I'm going to be 70.
And to this day, she still is.
I can't believe I'm going to be 70.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't feel
was
70.
70.
I don't-
70, I know, 8 years older than you. Anyway, so I was there from, I think, 5 to 7 or so in Spring Valley. And Uncle Max used to bring up a salami every weekend.
Okay.
And Dottie brought me a doll, a Dolly Dimplings, which I always had. And Uncle Max bought me a leather jacket. My parents, nothing. I didn't have nothing from them, but I had from Aunt Dottie and Uncle Max.
sweet.
They were very
loved
sweet.
them. I know how
and
much
I
they loved
remember
you.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember Spring Valley. The only thing I do remember is because we used to go there too,
Yeah.
and it was a bungalow colony right
Yeah.
next to Sauces and Ackermans.
Oh, I remember
Okay.
Sauces.
I don't
And
remember
that's
that.
that's now Randolph, New Jersey, which is
Oh.
the same as Spring
Same.
Valley, but they don't call it that anymore.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I'm not Spring Valley.
Mount Freedom.
I'm talking about Mount Freedom.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
talking
right.
about Mount Freedom, not Spring
yeah.
Valley.
Spring
I'm
Valley.
totally
I remember
mixed
Mount
up.
Freedom.
I
Yeah.
went to Mount Freedom,
Yeah.
not Spring Valley.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's
remember.
different.
I wasn't
don't
around
think
for
so.
Spring
I didn't
Valley.
Think I didn't
No.
remember you from there.
No, I remember Mount Freedom, which
Yeah.
is now Randolph, New Jersey,
Oh,
but
is
it's
that
still
what it
Mount
is?
Freedom.
Yeah.
There's a synagogue that's still there.
It's
and
considered a
everything.
close commute, and yet
Yeah.
in our time it was a summer place.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It is. People commute all the time.
Yeah.
But in Mount Freedom, I
Yeah.
was 2 years old, and I remember the bungalow colony
Oh,
next to
yeah.
Sauces and Ackermans. I remember your parents and my
Yeah.
grandparents and
I
my
remember
Aunt
that.
Enid,
Yeah.
and my father used to take me. And I remember that because we must have gone back when I was older.
Yeah.
Because I remember my father would take me. We would get verblunged.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
and
means
we would
lost.
to get lost, right? And so, and I loved
To
taking
get horse?
rides
That word,
with him.
for blunging.
For blunging.
I thought it meant
The word-
drunk.
No, for blunging is to get lost.
Mixed up.
Oh, get
And so
lost.
my father used to go with me in the car,
Confused.
and there were egg farms,
Yeah.
egg farms, and
Oh,
chicken
wow.
farms, and all in this area, all
in
around
Mount Freedom.
in
I
Mount
remember
Freedom.
that.
Yes, and we used to take roads. Nobody knew where we were
Yeah.
going to wind up, just the two of us,
Yeah.
and I loved it. And to this day, and you ask him, I love to take rides, and I don't
Yeah.
care where I wind up.
It's wonderful.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's
I
funny.
still like that, but I remember that in Mount Freedom.
Yeah.
My father used to come and say, "Come, let's get for blunging."
Okay,
Yeah, that's
I got
funny.
a controversial question for you because it involves us.
Yeah.
And I may get angry if I hear the real truth, but at my parents' wedding,
Yeah.
there was some issue about Murray not being the band or being the band, and it had to do with
Yeah.
the union and this and that,
Yes,
and
right.
and there was
Yeah.
Tell
that
me the
your
story.
Your mother thought that Murray was charging too much for the wedding, and they didn't want to hire them because they really couldn't afford to do it.
They had
But
no, and they had
They
no
had
money.
no money, and they thought there'd be a Brugus in the family.
Right.
A Brugus means angry.
Right.
If they didn't, so they hired the band anyway, even though they couldn't afford
They did
to
hire.
do it.
You
Yeah,
did play at the wedding.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
they did.
My
because
father played at the wedding.
They hired
his-
Murray's band
his
because
band.
because they didn't want them to be a
What did
Brugus
Murray
in the
play?
family.
You see that?
My father played a lot of instruments:
He played
saxophone,
sax,
clarinet,
Right.
trumpet.
Wow.
What did they
Also
play?
played-
Klezmer
he
music?
also played the violin.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
popular at that
Wow,
time.
I didn't know all
didn't
that.
play
I
class.
just
Yeah.
knew him playing sax.
Yeah.
Popular cover?
Yes, like
Yeah,
that.
popular.
And
Yeah.
he had a band. In addition, he was a haberdasher, right?
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And he was a musician from the Union. He used to
Yeah.
play weddings and bar mitzvahs and
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
all the
that's good
time.
to know. I
He
have-
also, my father also,
Yeah.
and I found out from, and I don't know whatever happened to them, but we found brochures.
Yeah.
My father used to play up in the mountains before he
Yeah.
met my mother.
Yeah.
Okay. He used to play up in the mountains. His name was Maury
Oh,
Sloanin,
Maury.
not Murray.
Yeah.
Maury.
Maury, yeah.
And there was you know, these little newspapers from
Yeah.
the hotels.
Yeah.
Okay, and there was stuff in there, you know. Oh, who was Maury with this week? Okay, okay, because
Really?
my father was really good looking.
Yeah.
Okay, and so this is before he met my
Yeah.
mother. So I think that my father had his.
He wasn't good looking after he met your mother?
No, but
He lost his looks?
I think he had some fun. You
yeah, I
know.
think so.
Yeah,
too.
I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Was he a professional? Did he make? Was that
Professional
full time?
musician.
Yeah.
Professional.
Did he have recordings?
He was full time, but when he met my mother, she didn't want him to be full time because she didn't feel that that was steady income. Okay, so
And at that
because-
time,
at
he-
that time, so
Did he make recordings?
no, but he had where Macy's used to be is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
He had a music store.
Oh, I didn't
And
know that.
he had, and you know how years ago they would come in, people would come in and play on the pianos
Yeah.
and sheet music and buy sheet music. He had a store like that.
Oh,
And then they closed the store when Macy's bought the property
oh, wow.
and opened Macy's.
Yep. Open
Nice.
Macy's.
Yeah.
Really a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very long time ago. So
Did he get
but
any
he had-
money for that?
He had famous people that came in there.
Really?
Yeah,
I was going to say
he
Artie
did.
Shaw. Is Artie Shaw from New York?
I don't know.
Artie Shaw is Jewish. What's
You're starting again.
I don't know. But I just know that he had a store and I can't remember, somebody else famous. My mother told me, but I forgot.
Benny Goodman?
Had another store.
Yeah.
My father knew Danny Kaye. He knew Benny
Wow.
Goodman. He
Wow.
knew
Well, my
these
father,
people.
before he had the store in the Bronx, worked at the Record Hunter, I think. In that
Fifth
same
Avenue.
area, on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Fifth Avenue and 42nd
Yeah.
Street. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
father's office was 507 Fifth Avenue, right
Okay.
above there.
You see,
No, it's quarter to the left.
I don't care.
I'm
Anyway,
worried
no,
about the car.
Karen, no, don't
They're
worry
open
about the car. You don't have to
24
worry
hours.
about it.
they said they're open 24 hours.
That guy
Karen,
said-
you see how nice it's worth.
Right.
We're all gonna go.
We'll buy you another car if somebody
It's worth
steals
it,
it.
right? We're not gonna
Okay.
stay much longer.
All right.
No,
Yeah.
no.
All right. So that's, I don't know what else to tell you.
My dad
So,
told me that
yeah.
there was somebody in the family who was defending Joe Stalin, and Grandpa got furious and said, "You can't. Yeah, he's a communist or something
Who
like
was
that."
that?
I don't know. I can't. I don't know everything. I don't know the. I can't name names. Somebody was sympathetic to Stalin.
Not that I know.
I can't
I can't
imagine.
imagine.
I
Maybe a
can't either.
communist, a socialist, or whatever.
Know somebody in the family?
In the family?
The
Not
fellow
that
was
I know.
over in Russia. What? Maybe somebody was sympathetic, not defending.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't-
somebody was a communist.
Did we
That's
No,
all.
lose? Did
nobody
we
I know.
lose? Did we lose anybody in the Holocaust that we know about?
No,
They were all here,
yeah.
but we don't know about the great grandmother and
No,
whatever.
we don't know about the great.
Well, did she relocate to the United States?
My mother's grandmother, who was my great grandmother, came here and made strudel for 100 people for my
Yeah,
mother's
but
wedding.
you're talking about her mother, the
Right.
great grandmother, the great
We're
great
going back
grandmother.
an
My
awfully
mother's-
long time.
The one
My
who was
mother's
in.
grandma is
So
my
wait,
great.
where are they from? They're from Lithuania.
Ukraine.
You
They're from Kamenets-Podolsk in Ukraine. That's the name of the town, and it's still there, but it doesn't look the same as when they were
I'm
there.
sure not.
But I went to Russia with a Dutch student group in 1970 out of
Yeah.
curiosity.
Yeah.
It's terrible there. But what was so
Or it was then.
interesting,
It was
the
a
Russian
communist.
people reminded me of my grandma, and that was 1970, and grandma died in 49.
We've been there a few times
You
to
have
Russia.
been, yeah.
Yeah. And
Did it remind
I
you?
wanted to go, and we never made it. But my father, supposedly, the family came from
I thought
Slonim.
Austria. Slonim? That's
No,
a place?
my Joe is Austrian. Joe is Austrian.
Austrian. Oh,
Joe is Austrian.
Oh.
He came from Austria.
oh, I see.
We have Austrian family?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Joe.
Joe. Uncle
My,
Joe.
My grandfather.
my
I'm hearing this for the
Max
first time.
was from Austria too.
my
Uncle Max,
grandmother's
that's right.
husband,
Jerry,
Joe.
Yeah,
Joe Bleiweiss.
Jerry's
Yeah.
father was from Austria?
yeah.
It wasn't Austria. It was Austria.
Got it right.
Back then.
Well,
Back
whatever.
then.
For hearing here, it's for the
But
first
they-
time.
Got it
But
right.
but wait, if you take, that's where the light color comes from.
Yeah.
Maybe.
From Joe. That's
Joe.
what Joe, and my brother had it too. His hair was blondish
I
red.
remember when he was a little
He
boy.
was reddish blonde.
Blonde,
But
I
me, I
remember
was the
blonde.
blonde. I
Yeah.
was always blonde.
That's right.
and they told me, but because I don't remember Joe,
Yeah.
I didn't remember
Yeah.
him. They told me that he's the one that had the light hair and the blue
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah. I don't remember what color his eye was because when I knew Joe, he had gray hair already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we have any Zionists in the family? Anyone that
No.
fought with Israel?
No.
Independence? And
No.
fought in the Israel? No?
No.
No, never that much. No.
Do you know, remember hearing what people's opinions about Zionism was?
No, not. I learned
No.
that in synagogue.
I learned that in Yiddish school. I went to the Abba to Ring.
Shul Dry.
Shul
right.
Dry, that's
We did,
right.
Yeah.
You did
had
too.
Yeah, Larry
Yeah.
Klein.
Lara Klein, that's
Yeah,
right.
I remember him. Did you go there? No.
No, he
No.
didn't live there. He didn't go there.
Oh,
We
that's
lived
it.
across
lived
the
there,
street.
Right. Opportunity
That's
Shul Dry.
they wanted me. He wanted me to be a singer
Yeah,
because I
how
had a really
nice.
good voice.
How lovely.
And my father wouldn't have it. He wouldn't have it. No, wanted me to have lessons and everything. My father wouldn't have it. And when I did, he was probably right because when I turned 12, my voice started changing.
changed.
But it still was good. I've always been a
Yeah.
soprano.
Very
You know,
nice.
now my voice isn't so good anymore.
Yeah,
But
well,
but
you're
it's
older.
but it used to be good for years.
Yeah.
I grew up doing everything I wanted to do, right? No discipline whatsoever. but when the time came, and I made Bronx Science and I made music and art, I wanted to go to music and art. And somehow, the one time that my mother, that took a strong position, and I ended up going to Bronx Science.
I didn't know you went to science.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
yeah.
And I hated every minute there.
Yeah.
Really?
Music,
Right.
music and art was
Yeah,
everything
that's your
I am.
life. That's your life.
everything I am today. You
That's
know?
right.
And-
Oh,
and-
that's
and
Who knows where my life would have gone if I went to
Right.
music and art? Because all Bronx Science did for me was teach me how to cut classes. All of the bad behavior that I carried through for the rest of my life. And I used to go over to I was old enough to go over to my Nana Dottie. I had Dolly Madison ice cream. When I was supposed to be in Bronx Science,
course.
boom, I'd walk over to the Amalgamated.
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
go to sleep. Even then, I'd take a nap and have a
Well, she wasn't
whatever.
home. She wasn't home.
I spent
till-
more time with my grandparents.
Yeah.
That's
I
how I
know
grew
you
up.
did.
And
I
it was
know.
great time. But
Well, went to
I look
Brooklyn
back and I'm
Tech.
so sad that I didn't
Yeah.
go to music and art. I
Yeah.
always think about that.
Yeah.
Paul
What
went
would you
to
have
Brooklyn
been? What
Tech.
would
Who
you
knows?
What did you love?
Well, I play the piano,
Music.
not to any great
Music.
degree,
I
but
remember
but
you
but,
playing the
but
piano.
you play the piano as a vehicle to do something in the future.
Right, right.
Who knows what the future might have been if I went there? That's all. I
Yeah.
mean,
Who knows?
I was in
Yeah.
the chorus in junior high school. I mean,
Right.
Well,
I'm
I'll
not
tell
saying
you,
that
when-
I had
when we're that
that
age,
kind of talent,
You know,
but who
we
knows
don't,
what-
we don't have a say in that.
that
No.
exactly,
No.
exactly.
Producer or something.
What?
Could a producer or
Well,
Paul
So
went to-
what else do you know? Like after about the trances, anything or?
You'd have to ask your daughter because she did family tracing on the computer.
I'm going to do
Ancestry
everybody an
does.
enormous favor now.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the wrap up
Good.
Yeah.
because honestly, and I mean this lovingly, I would stay here all night.
Yeah.
Every minute of this
But I
is
just
a treasure.
saw lightning over there.
But the truth is, we were going to go here 5 minutes because Karen had a long day.
Yeah.
And look at how, how inspiring it is and how
Yeah.
special it is.
Yeah.
So we spent all this time together.
Right.
We've got it.
Right.
Before we all fall down,
Yeah.
Right.
we're going to do this again.
Yes.
And this is the beginning of, I promise, memorializing a whole lot of stuff. I don't know where it's going to take us, but we're going to have our version of,
Yeah.
of something.
That's
And
fine.
I think you should ask Cindy to bring her
gonna
records
ask her.
because
Cindy will
I
help.
gave her a lot of names, and she traced each of these.
Karen, when you
names on
send
the
emails,
computer.
you go to the sent,
Yeah, sent.
but I don't know if it
I'm
stays
gonna
there
ask
for a
you
long
a
time.
favor if you
Stays
don't
there
mind.
forever.
Yeah,
Just send me an email to remind me.
mind you to
Remind
ask
me,
Cindy.
yeah.
I won't forget that either.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah, so
I'm not
Karen,
gonna
check
forget
that email, see if you
I'm on top
see
of
it.
this stuff
Yeah.
now.
Okay,
No, I shouldn't
we'll go.
forget.
The minute I
shouldn't
see
forget.
Cindy, she's going to get we're going to get interactive
Yeah,
on
you
this stuff.
ask her because she has the records.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the millenniums, whatever, they have the ability to do this stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
To jump on it and,
Yeah.
and then in 5 minutes do something that'll take me 5 hours.
That's right. Me too.
Sure.
Me too.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
even this one over here, who knows all that stuff, has slowed down on
Who
it.
wants to say goodnight first?
Good night.
Good night.
Love
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Stay